None of your business, not none of your business.
Mr. President, we're ready to begin the meeting.
Okay, it is 4:33 on Thursday, January 26th, 2023. And I call this meeting of the Meridian Historic Preservation Commission to order. Roll call. Blaine Johnston's here. Pam Jagosh. Jack Keller. Destiny Hart. Jody Alt.
Present.
Hey, Jody, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, adoption of the agenda. One thing to say before we move for that is we have a couple of open commission seats still, and we're hoping to have them filled soon. So hopefully by next month, we'll have some new commission members. With that being said,
Mr. President, one update on that. We might extend the deadline to get a few more applications. I'm not quite sure yet. That's up to the mayor's office. So it might be a little bit more time.
okay. Clarify, soon. Okay, with that, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt,
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Alt, second by Commissioner Jagosh for adoption of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Approval of minutes from our special meeting on December 7th, 2023.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt,
I move that we accept the minutes and approve the minutes from the December meeting, special meeting.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Alt, seconded by Commissioner Jagosh for approval of minutes from our special meeting on December 7th, 2022, actually, as a correction.
I will get that corrected.
Okay. Approval of monthly financial statements. Cassandra, anything new?
Yes, Mr. President, actually, one thing that's not on the budget, just because I hadn't gone through yet, was the membership to the Preservation Leadership Forum. Other than that, that's the only item.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt,
I move that we approve the monthly financial statements with the correction.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Alt, seconded by Commissioner Jagosh for approval of our monthly financial statements. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. New business. Next order of business is the election of officers. Meridian City Code directs us to hold elections at the first meeting of each calendar year. By bylaw state that officers of this commission shall include commission president and commission vice president. I will now take nominations from the floor for the office of president.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt,
I nominate Blaine Johnson for president.
you'll second it, and then we'll do.
Second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, we will nominate, have nominations for vice president.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Jagosh,
I nominate Jody Alt for vice president.
I'll second that. So, let me read my script. We now have nominations for Commissioner Johnston for president, Commissioner Alt for vice president. Do we have a motion to elect those people? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion by Commissioner Jagosh, seconded by Commissioner Alt for the election of Commissioner Johnston for president and Commissioner Alt for vice president. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations to those commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go on to item 4, planning and discussion for May 2023 Preservation Month activities. I'll start off a little bit. I have reached out to the library district and trying to set up a meeting with Christy. I can't forget her title.
Sorry, I'm not sure of the title either.
Anyway, to see what possibilities the library district has to help us out on Preservation Month for displays or something like that. I have not heard back yet, but hopefully we can get together with them and they can help us out with our Preservation Month activities. Short of that, I think we can just continue with our thoughts of the walking tour. Our turnouts good and bad depending on weather. Last year we had a decent turnout and I think everybody enjoyed it. So that's one thing we can do. Our signboards that go up, I think that gets a lot of interest. Just throughout the days of the week, people can just walk through and they see stuff. I think if we can put a post out on, excuse me, on social media in April to remind people of our walking tour app and even just the brochures that are available in the kiosks so people can pick those up. And even remind people that they can just go online and do the tour from home if they're comfortable with that. Those are just some options. And as soon as I hear back from the library district with some of their ideas, I can get back with the commission next month and see what they have to say. Ms. Schiffler, you have a question.
Mr. President, I looked up her title and it's Digital Services Librarian.
Thank you. So I know that those walking tours, the signboards are things we've done in the past. So I'm open to suggestions from the commission members on any other new ideas or Preservation Month. So if anybody can think of anything, let me know now or think about it and we can, I'd like to try and finalize some good ideas by February. So we can get stuff put in motion or May, because it'll be here before we know it. Commissioner Jagosh.
Do we have dates?
No dates yet. So that's another thing we'll look at next month is when school gets out, when kids are testing, Memorial Weekend, stuff like that. So it's usually mid-May is when we do it.
One thing that I'd like to know is that Meridian's Unplug and Be Outside Week is May 13th through 20th. So if we can do events during that time, you can get some additional marketing through our special events coordinator. She has several events happening that week, and if there's other things going on, they can be posted with that.
Oh, that's a good idea. So I guess let's, at least for now, preliminarily, let's plan for that week of getting stuff set up. And then that, whatever that weekend is, I'd have to look and see that Thursday or whatever day we want for our walking tours. So thank you, Cassandra. That's some good information for us.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt.
has the state set the theme yet?
I have not seen anything, and Ms. Schiffler says she has not seen anything. So I don't think that's probably going to come out until maybe March at the soonest is usually when we hear that. And that may or may not fit what we want to do. So we'll just have to wait and see. And I think actually it comes from national, but I don't. So yeah, we'll just look and see what the national theme is and what the state's theme is, and we'll just run with it from there.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other discussion for Preservation Month activities?
Mr. President, I'd like to just note that there has been, it was before my time, and so, but there was some student initiatives, and I thought maybe Commissioner Alt was interested in pursuing something potentially with student initiatives that could be part of Preservation Month. Any interest in that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can work on that. I know we're a bit late for schools, but I can start on that.
Yeah, I think even if we do something simple with the schools, to get some interest that way, I think we're in good shape. I know that we received a request from an old student commissioner who is now a teacher at, I think, at Riverstone. And Jolie was looking for some help for her students for volunteer activities. And I think Commissioner Hart has reached out to her and going to go talk to her class on volunteer opportunities that kids have or what they can do as they grow and get into adulthood. So I'll make sure that Commissioner Hart follows through and gives us an update when she gets done. Any other things for new business? With that, we will go to old business and the Eggers Farmstead. I'll give you an update. Go back to this. On December 20th of last year, the developer had a pre-application meeting with the city on that property. And city planning and zoning invited me to participate in that. The developer wants to turn that property into an industrial light commercial use. And they did not know, or they did not feel or think that either the barn or the double silo granary had any historical value. And I told them that, well, according to past inspections from TAG, actually, that both the barn and the double silo granary were eligible for listing on the National List of Historic Places. That we would like to see them preserved if possible. I know that the developer and the owner of both have gotten letters from not only us, Ada County Preservation Council, State Historic Preservation Office, and I believe Preservation Idaho. I'm trying to word this correctly. They would like to see those two structures preserved and maintained on site if possible. With that said, I did email the developer and told him I would like to sit down and talk to them if possible about those two structures, that we would like to see them preserved. He emailed me back and said that the owner is not interested in having those two structures listed on the National Registry. And I replied that, well, even if he doesn't have them listed on the National Registry, I believe that there are some tax credits available to him if he decides to work on them and try to preserve them on site. And that I believe that there could be some possible beneficial uses for those structures and maintain the integrity of them if we keep them on site. So I've not heard back, but I'm still trying to set up a meeting with them to discuss this further. And that's all I have as far as an update on the Eggers Farmstead. Like I said, I'm going to keep working on them and keep bugging them. I'm going to reach out to both SHPO and Ada County still, and even Preservation Idaho, and ask them if they couldn't reach out, send another email to them and tell them that it'd be really nice if those were maintained on site if possible. I think I mentioned before that the owner is willing to just give those buildings away to whomever wants them, but it's going to be their responsibility to, and I hate to use the word demo because I don't want them demolished, but taken apart, moved, and then have them rebuilt on some other location. Would not be, my opinion, as far as preservation, would not be in the best interest of those two structures. But if we can preserve them in some other fashion on someone else's property, that they're willing to do that, that's an option. I think it's better than having them just torn down and chucked. So I've said my 2 cents worth on that subject. Any questions for me? Hearing none, we'll go on to reports. Item 5, staff updates. Meridian Speedway nomination. Phase 2 of tag reconnaissance survey, North End Main Street historic properties, and Hull Films virtual site tours of Eggers Farmstead. Ms. Schiffler, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. So just some updates. The Speedway nomination, there's no change on that yet. Contacted SHPO, and they haven't forgotten about it, but they've just had other priority projects. So that's still sort of in the works to hear back and get the updates needed. And so no change on that yet. The other 2 projects, the reconnaissance survey and the Hull Films, both of those groups or organizations have been contracted by the city to move forward. Everything's looking good. The Whole Film is planning on going out to photograph the Eggers Farmstead in April. And TAG is probably going to start work here when it warms up just a little bit. And then they'll give a report sort of midway on their progress and then one at the end.
Okay.
One other item that's not listed on here, but just kind of a cool thing that the city's doing. I wanted to show you. I'll screen share for a sec. There's a developer that had to do some signage, and so here's a quick shot of where the signage is going. So this is some interpretive signage along the 5 Mile Creek pathway. If you see the little red mark here, I think this is Black Cat and this is 10 Mile. And then there's another little red dot here. These are where these signs are going to go. And the signs look like, this is kind of what they'll look like. And here is the content. On those signs. So it's some historic information about Meridian and the laterals along there. And I'll send these out to the commission if you have any feedback or anything. These are being reviewed by SHPO. But you'll see there's also the Historic Preservation Commission logo on there. So Brighton is paying for these, but the city will own them when they're complete.
I know that there was talk in the past about adding an irrigation portion to our walking tour and signage. So is that still a possibility, is once these in place, is to get these put on the app for people to look at so they know exactly where they're at?
Yes, it's a possibility. I would need some help figuring out what verbiage we want to put on there and what the locations would be, because I think it would be quite a bit further out than most of the other like downtown historic locations, right?
Mhm.
So we need to figure that out, but it is something we could do.
Okay. And then I will go back to one item as far as the speedway goes. Technically, SHPO doesn't think there's anything wrong with the application. It's just wordage, verbiage, and the application itself, correct?
As far as I know, yes, just some additional details. Mostly my understanding is, and I knew that this was something that TAG, because the Speedway has a lot of structures on it, there's a lot of non-contributing buildings. And so it's that section just further sort of giving details about the non-contributing historic structures and the historic structures.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sandra? Where those signs are located.
Yes, and for those of you online that couldn't hear, Commissioner Jagosh asked about where those signs were located. I'm actually going to pull up my email because give me just a sec. I just learned about these today. Okay, one is at 5 Mile in Creason, so it's located near Black Cat Road. And then the other one is at Rutledge and 8 Mile, located at 10 Mile Road. Although there is still some coordination about with the city about where exactly we'd like it placed.
Mr. President, thinking and looking at that map and where we discussed this, I think one of them is going to be at that 10-mile trailhead. That's the new one that's right there on 10 Mile, right across the street from the treatment plant.
Okay,
And then there's a crossing there to cross over to the pathway. And then the development that's being constructed now, where the other side is by Black Cat, is called Quartet. And so it's along that area there that's part of their open space for that subdivision.
is there now, or is there a walking path now, or is the developer going to be building that as part of the work?
I think there is a path there now. I thought there was along the, I don't remember if it's on the north or the south side of the creek there. I think it's on the south
I
side,
think it's on the south side of the creek.
but I'm thinking it's there.
Okay,
I'm not certain. There was a connection. There's a piece they had to connect it together to what was already there and to what they're adding. So I
Okay.
don't know. I'm assuming that's either done or close.
will be done. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for your comments. Anything else we need to talk about? With that, our next meeting will be on February 23rd, 2023. Ms. Schiffler, is that the meeting that we're going to be in conference rooms A and B, or is that the March meeting?
Yes, this is the meeting. So I will, there's a couple of things that happen with this meeting. I will be out of town on vacation. So you'll have a different staff liaison for the February meeting. And there was some scheduling. So city council will actually be meeting in here on our regularly scheduled date. And the city clerk will work to make sure, I'm pretty sure it will be meeting room A and B, but just double check the meeting for the location. It'll be on there, but it'll be at the same time, just in a different location and probably a little bit of a different tech setup and a different staff liaison.
And then one other item for me, for Ms. Schiffler, is our annual report to city council. I'm trying to think of what day that was. Thought it was in March.
Let's coordinate that with the clerk's office for whether or not we do that. We've done them both at 4:30 for the work session as well as 6 o'clock for the regular meeting.
I think this one's going to be in the work, at the work session.
Yeah, I think they've tried to push a lot of these types of presentations to that session there. It's a little bit less formal.
It is scheduled for Tuesday, March 28th at 4:30.
Okay, so I'll just start getting with you, Cassandra, and we'll start working up notes, whether we want to do a PowerPoint, just photos or whatever, and start preparing for that meeting. Sounds good. With that, I think we are done. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Alt,
I move that we adjourn.
motion by Commissioner Alt, seconded by Commissioner Jagosh for adjournment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time. We'll see you next month.